Greetings and indeed hearty salutations, mate. My name's Neil Cross, and in this video, I'm going to be doing something I've never done before. Reacting to other people's Autodesk Inventor tutorials. Not because I just want to bash on anyone. Actually, I'm hoping they're going to be good. If you're wondering, well, who are you? What's your credentials in the space, mate? Well, I've got 9 years as a certified inventor professional exam passer until I stopped taking the exam because it was an absolute load of fucking wank from a couple of years ago. 10 years or so as a Autodesk approved training instructor in a platinum reseller training center, training Autodesk software. 2-time Autodesk University speaker, Autodesk Expert Elite member. A couple of weeks ago on Intel Vision 2022 main stage speaker, launching core mobile HX for Intel, using Autodesk Inventor software for that. Pluralsight author for a number of courses on Autodesk software. A bunch of stuff. Doesn't matter. It's not important. Most important and most relevant, from January 2014 until 2018, 2019-ish, I pumped out around 250 tutorials on Autodesk Inventor, which have gathered around 8 million views and counting in. For that time, arguably, let's just say it was one of the most, if not the most popular Autodesk Inventor dedicated tutorial channel. And then I stopped for reasons that I've explained in depth, and I might cover again as we go through here. In fact, I've got one of the reasons right here. 3.1 million views for a video about a fucking phony funeral for a hamster. That's almost half as many views as all my tutorials got in 8 years. My professional grade CAD tutorials got in 8 years. If you ever wondered where a creator's motivation vanishes and just dissipates to, there it is right there. It doesn't matter if it's for a different audience. Tell that to the person dedicating their life to trying to help people's careers. And then someone makes a video about a phony fucking funeral for a hamster and they get that many views in a day. Anyway, not important. Let's go on to look for a tutorial. So Autodesk Inventor Tutorials. I've got no idea what's going to come up. I would imagine I will, but I'll be well buried by this point. There I am. Am I anywhere else? There's one there. Yeah, I'm well buried at this point. I'm well buried. Frame generator tutorial. So I'm well buried. So the one at the very top. Should we just start with the one at the very top? CAD CAM tutorial. I've come across the name. Not familiar with the channel. No idea who he or she is. But tutorial in the name, tutorial in the title. 500,000 views right at the very top. I would imagine most people are going to click on this one first. 7 minutes and 44 seconds long though. I have questions. I have questions on the length of this video. But let's just jump in. We've got an ad. Great. Let's look at the comments. 193 comments from 500,000 views. That's suspicious. I'm not going to lie. I would expect more comments than that. That seems to be a bit moderated. But who knows? I know we're 3 minutes into this and I haven't even got started yet, but I take tutorial very literally. Tutorial is an actual word that means something. It's derived from the word tuition, which is derived from tutor. It's for a tutor to imbue you with knowledge. It's a form of teaching. So a tutorial is a very explicit, literal thing. You have to be teaching somebody something for it to be a tutorial. And this guy's got tutorial leathered all over this. It is twice, in fact 3 times in the main page. It's in his channel name and it's in his title. So this has to be a tutorial. We'll see, and I'm hoping it's not silent. One of the reasons why I started my channel originally is because of silent tutorials, and it drove me mad. So we've actually good start. So we've got a picture of what it is we're going to be modeling, I assume, which is a good way of starting. You're showing the person what you're going to be modeling from, which is a pretty simple model, and then
welcome back to CAD.
Okay, we've got audio. That's good. Thank God for that. It's an Indian guy. Which is fine. My audience, actually the 3rd biggest demographic, is India. There's a strong presence for learning content in India. And this is an image or a bit of video clip of the finished product. Again, good start, showing you what you're modeling from, showing what the end product is. And that gives someone a bit of motivation as to where they're going to be heading to. So that's a good, solid start. Really pleased with that.
CAD CAM tutorial. Today we are going to make a simple 3D model in solid Autodesk Inventor.
What? In SolidWorks? What?
Autodesk Inventor in Solid Autodesk Inventor 2017. So
I assume this guy does SolidWorks as well. In fact, Josh, we'll just quickly take a look. Curious as to what his other stuff is. Videos, Inventor 2023, SolidWorks, absolutely everywhere. Onshape as well. Wow. Okay. God, I mean, he's got a lot of videos. I can see he's pumping out. He's grinding SolidWorks, AutoCAD, and Photoshop, and Onshape, and Inventor. Mate, you can't. Skeptical. I have questions. I'm not sure if he can be an expert in that many programs. That takes a lot of dedication. I have questions, but let's just
simple
keep
model. We will create with the help of this 3D isometric drawing. So let's start to create this thing. So let me cancel this one, and here I'll choose new.
So this is where the tutorial is supposed to begin. This is where, don't forget, the intended audience for this is somebody who's never used the software before. You've got to put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's never used the software before. You have to be able to relate to that person. So you have to assume you're talking to somebody who's got no clue what you're talking about. So you can't assume they know what they're doing. And you also have to assume that what you're teaching them is the foundation of the start of their learning process. So you can't skip past stuff either.
Standard millimeter dimensions. Okay.
Right, so he's already started. He's already started with that. So he's picked the part template, but he hasn't explained what that was. That it's a single component, and there are assembly templates. So that's the start of it. I think that might be a theme, especially. And I'm saying that because it's only 7 minutes long.
The browser window of Autodesk Inventor. Let me choose
Not
here.
a browser window, it's the
2D
graphics
sketch.
viewport.
And I'll choose here sketch XY plane. Our drawing will lie on the XY.
It's not a drawing. Terminology is really important as well when you're talking to a brand new person. You have to get the terminology right, because drawing in a CAD program means something completely different. So he said he's put the drawing on the XY plane.
Here sketch XY plane. Our drawing will lie on the XY.
Our drawing will lie in the XY plane. It's not a drawing, mate. It's a 2D sketch. 2D sketch and drawing, the terminologies are not interchangeable. You have to get that right, especially in a tutorial.
So let me start with a rectangle, and I'll start with origin point. Just press there 96 millimeter, press tab key, and the other word.
That's good. That's good that he's using tab to jump between dimensions. That's not necessarily advanced, but that's showing somebody that the dimensions will jump across, but he hasn't.
Vertical dimension is 64 millimeter.
Yeah, he didn't specifically say that's what happened. He didn't say pressing tab jumps across into the next dimension.
Right click, okay. Now see 96 millimeter.
Now see doesn't. That's not teaching. just saying now see doesn't make it for
Better
teaching.
to keep this dimension here, so it will be more visible. Now
Why?
select.
Why? No. You can't. Again, you can't just say better to put something there because it'll be more visible, and then move on. Tidying your dimensions up is important, but you have to explain why. And it's because if you're working in a collaborative environment, if someone else was to work on the model, the dimensions being tidy and neatly arranged helps somebody else work on what you've done. Also, if you place this model into a 2D drawing and you retrieve the dimensions through onto the drawing sheet, they come through in a more organized fashion. Just saying keeps them neat. Someone might just think, well, maybe you're just OCD and I don't need to do that.
So it will be more visible. Now select.
More visible for what? You know what
Exit and select here extrude. And
I know I sound like I'm being picky, but this is a beginner's
we
tutorial.
want to
Kind of have to
extrude
be.
this body up to 16 millimeter according to our. See, keep this direction, not direction 2. We will keep direction 1, and here keep distance. Okay.
I'd probably be inclined to start off by naming parameters, because I've noticed. Where are we? 1 minute 37. I noticed that a lot of the dimensions were 16. He's got 16 there. He's got 16 here, so it's like a common thickness across the base of this part. I'd be inclined to name that parameter sort of THK, just to show a new beginner that you can name a parameter and re-reference it later on.
Now let me choose isometric view. See,
that's not isometric.
now
that's
select
home
this
view.
face, and here you will see one option, create sketch. So what sketch we need to create? From the back side we need to extend up to 16 millimeter, 48 millimeter upward direction and 16 millimeter thickness. Let me choose here.
This is like a demo. This is coming across very much like a demonstration. Like, let me choose. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That's a demonstration. Like, watch this, watch that. You're demonstrating the software rather than teaching it. This isn't
Corner
this isn't a
rectangle,
tutorial.
or 2-point rectangle. Start from here to.
Again, he's clicked the top left-hand corner. He snapped to the green dot, which makes a coincident constraint at the top left, but he hasn't explained that he's done that. So anyone following along or attempting to follow along won't have noticed that happened. So they may, and they probably won't click the green dot. That means the rectangle will be floating in space and it won't be attached. And that's the start of the snowball effect of the rest of the model going wrong. And because he hasn't explained why that's important, they won't know where they've gone wrong.
Okay. Now,
right, so he's intentionally not snapped that corner to here. I assume because he's going to create probably a collinear constraint.
Constraint, collinear constraint. I'll choose this line and this bottom line, and see it's in one line in collinear position.
No, this is a demonstration of a tutorial.
Dimension, and I'll define this dimension 16 millimeter. Exit, select extrude, and we want to extrude this face and up to 48 millimeter. Okay, now let me choose here fillet. Select this fillet, select 32 millimeter, select edge, we want to choose one edge. Now see the preview here, apply, or you can directly select OK, cancel. Now press shift key and press your mouse wheel, and you can rotate your part in 360 degree. Sketch.
I'd probably taught the F4 orbit first, but
corner, 2-point rectangle, this point. Now the upper direction, this blue line, you can say 40 millimeter, this dimension.
Still didn't explain the coincident constraint at the bottom. Someone does that, they don't click the bottom bit, this whole region is going to be
then
disconnected
the vertical
and floating.
dimension keep 28 millimeter. Enter. Now see, let me choose.
Now C doesn't make for teaching, mate.
A circle. We want to create a half circle here, so just find out center point. See this green point shows it is center point. Drag midpoint. And diameter, let's keep.
Oh no, this is okay. So this will work, but again it's bad practice. So where we are, 337. So he's doing the cut for this bit here, and he's doing it all in one sketch. So what you really should do as part of teaching best practice to a beginner is draw the rectangle as just one sketch, extrude that as a solid block, and then sketch on this face here, and then draw the half circle, and then extrude that as a cut. That's best practice. One of the golden rules for Inventor sketching is a sketch per feature, and he's essentially combining two features into one sketch, which it's just not best practice. But it's you still get the same end result. It's supposed to be a tutorial.
24 millimeter
for a beginner.
That's it.
He's gonna have to now trim this and
I want to
constrain
trim this
it
half inside lines. Now see, it's perfectly fine.
Not perfectly fine. You haven't even constrained him. It's left it. It says fully constrained there, but as soon as he trims that, 3 dimensions needed at the bottom. You probably can't see. You might be able to see that on the screen, but 3 dimensions needed. So this semicircle's now. You could drag that and it'll just explode off.
Now see, it's perfectly fine.
It's not perfect.
Exit. Now choose extruded boss base, and this time we need to extrude up to 42 millimeter, direction 2. Okay. See, this is 40, 28 and 24 millimeter is the diameter, and if you minus 64 minus 22, it will be.
I hate implied dimensions.
So now the next is this tapered line and this cutout. So this tapered line is point to point. Is no only thickness keep 12 millimeter.
Yeah, it's a good part to model for a beginner, but it's lacking a lot of the basic features that beginners should be sort of touching on. So you've only got fillets, extrusions, and that's it, as far as I can tell. Like, there's no patterns, there's no revolves, there's no tapped holes, which you get taught very early on in a beginner's course.
16 cut out 16 gap and 20 millimeter long and 16 millimeter one end. Now let me choose this face, this sketch, and select here line, and we will start with this point. Once the point is green, that means it's go inside.
Yeah, I think you should have said that about 2 or 3 minutes ago, man.
To this point, search green point. Green point.
He's dodging project geometry. Yeah, so he's drawn out the complete extents of the triangle. What you really a beginner again should know what project geometry is. So you really should be projecting these edges through, and then you can use the projected edges to form the boundary of the triangle rather than draw the edges of the. You'll get the same effect. It'll still work, but beginners need to understand what project geometry is because it's absolutely essential. Drawing the triangle lines will automatically project the edges through as you click on the edges, but beginners don't know that that's happening, and they need to know that.
Select this point to this point. Right click. Okay.
You see the yellow edges, they're projections. And it's a setting that can be turned off as well.
And this time we need to expand up to 12 millimeter, but select direction 2. Means it will go inside. Select here OK. Now select this face, create a sketch.
I mean, it's good
Now
that
here
he's
we need to
showing
make
different
one
ways to
cutout.
sketch
So
and
how we will do this one? Press line.
create sketch and pick the in context menu.
Start from here up to
No, mate, you've
this
missed the
point.
edge. This is why it's bad that he hasn't shown project geometry. So he's hovered over that edge. He's clicked the line, the endpoint on the line, but he's missed it. You see how it's not projected it through? So this line isn't attached, and this is why he should be going to project geometry first. So he's going to finish this feature, and it's going to be floating.
And go back to this point and press left mouse key and drag. See, it will automatically convert into circle. Up, then leave.
Arc, tangent.
Okay,
Arc.
again it will convert into line. So this is very shortcut technique.
You missed it again. How are you missing it? So this entire feature,
Right
or
click,
sketch that he's
okay.
just drawn, is just
Let
going
me
to,
define
when he puts a
dimensions.
dimension on it, it's just going to vanish. It's going to just move away from the edge.
16 millimeter.
Boom, there it
this
goes.
one, let's keep 20 millimeter, not 16.
See, a new starter is going to be like, this is a complete mess. But if he projected first, drew the line, snapped to the projected edge, that's
Okay.
would have made it a lot
We
easier.
need to define one more relation. C constraint, collinear
No, you
constraint.
needed to do that at the start, mate.
Select this line and this line. It is perfectly okay. Right click. Okay. Dimension 16 millimeter, and distance from here to this end also 16 millimeter. Now see at the bottom.
Yeah, you see how many 16 millimeter dimensions there are. If he'd named a parameter to start with, he could have just referenced that named parameter, and you would have had a consistent distance all the way through. That's if
You'll see
it is a
fully
consistent
constrained.
distance.
So this is ready for the cut. Select here extrude body, and at the just below of the extrude you will see a cut option. See my mouse. Cut. Distance,
See my
you will
mouse
give
is not-
distance. Select 16 millimeter thick. So
I would extrude through all, or extrude to the bottom face. That's best practice for that
16
one.
millimeter, and select this face. Now see, you can see the preview how it's cut. Even you can directly choose here all. And okay,
I would be inclined to use to the bottom face for that. But
let me define some color so that it will be visible.
color.
Light red.
At this point in a tutorial, I think a beginner would be more receptive to a material change than a color change. All that does is just changes the color of the faces. A beginner would get more of an impact from making this part steel or aluminium and then showing them the properties and saying, look, this is now an aluminium block. This is what you've just made. If you were to actually manufacture this or 3D print this, let's make it plastic. This is the weight of it, right? And then they go, wow, I just modeled that, and that's how much it would weigh. And they get that sort of connection of realism to it. Just making it red just changes the color of it. It doesn't assign a material to it. So that's another bit of an L
That's
there.
fine. Press shift key, and with the help of mouse wheel you can rotate this component, or even only mouse. If you press only mouse wheel, it will become a spam.
Did you say spam?
It will become a spam. So this is
Yeah, I know it's not his native language, but it's spam.
tutorial how to make a 3D model in Autodesk Inventor. I hope you like it. Don't forget to share and like our video. If you have any comment, just write down below. We will try to answer each and every question.
Don't think you answered any questions, mate. No, you haven't answered any. So look, that's not a great tutorial. In fact, that's not a tutorial at all. That's a follow me along demonstration. Not much learning in there at all. If anyone was to follow along that and they got it wrong, like they didn't click the green dots, they wouldn't know where they went wrong with that, because there was no teaching in there whatsoever. In fact, that was just do what I do, or watch what I do, aren't I great? That's kind of what that came across like. Just see this, see that, look at my mouse. This is, I don't know, self-indulgent kind of. I don't know, but it certainly wasn't a tutorial. But a bit disappointed with that one, especially given how many views it's had. Once someone's finished that, they're not learning much, if anything at all, from that. Unfortunately, that's just the way of YouTube, though. People want short videos, and you can't really teach people all that much in a short space of time. when you do start injecting knowledge in between certain bits of a tutorial, that adds time to the video and that turns off a certain amount of the audience, but it's just the nature of the beast, and that's ultimately why one of the reasons why I stopped doing it, from the vocal minority criticizing, you talk too much, stop talking. Well, this is a tutorial, mate. You need that's what a teacher does. But, you know, fair play to CAD Cam Tutorial. He's putting in the grind. This is 4 years old. So maybe his more recent tutorials are a little bit better than this one. I don't know. Looking at the length of them, that one's 15. So tutorial 2 is 15 minutes long. That one might be slightly better. So we may take a look at another one later on. Yeah, that's the first dive into the more recent tutorials online to see what people have got to learn from since my departation from the tutorial scene. So not intended to be a blast, not intended to be snark, just curious to see what's going on and what other people have been putting out. So that's it. That's the first soiree. My name is Neil Cross. This has been Tech 3D. If you're interested in this sort of stuff and you want to see more videos like this, make get subscribed. Button's just down there. Click like so other people can see videos like this as well if they may be interested in them. Links in the description to Autodesk Store if you want to buy Inventor or subscribe up to it using my link. That'll be down in the description as well. And thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Toodles.